Good morning, Connor Steinbrook. Good to see you, my friend. How is everything going?
Things are going awesome, man. How you doing? I know you're running around all day, picking up deals, making money.
Yeah, it's
Always a
it's
good day.
not it's not my normal day, right? So I scheduled all of these appointments and I was running around, driving around. I got to meet up with some other investors, wholesalers, and it's just like a reminder that I love that they do it and that I can stay texting and running everything from behind the scenes here. So what about yourself? You said you've had a really busy day. What have you been working on?
Man, I've just been on calls with agents and brokers, and putting out fires with contractors, and just like just one of those days, just step, going forward, task, and it's gonna be one of those ones where I wake up like at the end of the night and be like, "What just happened today?" I know a lot happened, but it's gonna blur by. But yeah, just been grinding.
Excellent. So you just mentioned a lot, and how you and I communicated, how we ran into contact was actually through a mutual friend, Max Keller, who was actually talking to me about moving my brokerage. And you're in the same brokerage. You're in my upline now in EXP.
hmm
Why don't you tell me a little bit? You're an investor, right? So before we jump into agency, how did you get into real estate in the first place? What drove you to start this game?
Yeah. So, I went off to college to get a business marketing degree, University of Oklahoma. So I'm a Sooner, Boomer Sooner for those out there. And while I was at college, my freshman year, I put $20 in a poker site, and we were in the middle of what was called the online poker boom. And kind of like EXP, technology infused itself into a brick and mortar world, and it just became really popular, exploded. So I put $20 in poker side for fun, ran it into a small fortune, and quickly realized I could make a lot more money doing that than getting a traditional marketing job going to work for a corporation. In fact, I was making more almost in a month than I would have to graduate and get that job. So I was like, why do I need to be here? And so I did that for about 8 years. I ended up actually going through and getting my degree out of respect for my parents. They had put up a lot of money, and I'd already been through college. By the time I was going to drop out, it would probably been between my junior, sophomore and junior summer year. So I just stuck it out, knocked it out, which I'm glad I did. But I did that, and then if you guys were playing online poker at the time, you guys know what happened back on April 15th, 2011. It was called Black Friday, and it was the day that the world ended for a lot of us. And these sites were, run by some unethical people, and they were hosted offshores. And the United States Department of Justice seized the two big poker sites, Full Tilt Poker and Poker Stars. So I woke up on that day, and everything disappeared. It'd be like if we woke up tomorrow and they said, "Guys, the real estate industry is gone. Turn in your keys, turn in your real estate licenses. You can't own real estate," and everybody just lost their life overnight. And so it's an important lesson for your younger listeners. I learned the hardest lesson of my life. You cannot have one income stream. Living with one income stream is incredibly risky. And that's what I had, even though I made a lot of money doing it. When the way that the money came in, the funnel disappeared, I was left with nothing. And I made a lot of stupid mistakes. I was like kind of like a football player in the NFL. Coming out, I made money, but I spent as fast as I made it. So I wasn't prepared for this to happen. So what I did was I started asking some of these older gentlemen that I used to take their money all the time, how they made all their money and how they could lose 20, 30 grand in a day with a smile on their face. And they were all in real estate, commercial, storage, mobile home parks, something that created cash flow so they didn't have to worry about it. And so it was a hobby for them, not a profession. So I said, I'm going to go down the path of creating residual income. One of them gave me a common saying that if you don't create something that works for you while you're working for other income, you're going to die working. So that's what I did. And I went down the cliche path of Rich Dad Poor Dad, read every self-development book out there. Probably not as many as Galter. He's up to like almost 300, but I
Yep.
probably read, getting up pretty close, somewhere up there over the years now. But I jumped into real estate, and I made every mistake in the book. I got every criminal in my market found me somehow, and I made a bunch of it. Dropped 20 grand on direct mail. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't close any deals because I couldn't handle the calls coming in. Before I knew it, I was almost $70,000 in debt. Every huge credit card bills cranking every month. Not the good debt, the bad debt.
Right.
And everybody was telling me, just file bankruptcy, just do this, just file it. And I was like, I refuse to do so. So I picked up a broom and started working night shifts at a sporting goods store. And I was one of the first people on Investor Carrot. So you guys probably know Investor Carrot with Trevor Mock and Adrian Nez. And I started to build WordPress websites. I hopped on YouTube and I started looking at ways to do deals on the internet. And so I was using Craigslist and some things that we can't really do now because of spamming laws and things like that. But I basically taught myself how to build some of the #1 ranking websites in Texas for We Buy Houses, Sell My House Fast, most keywords. One of the ways I did that was on YouTube. I was building private YouTube channels, linking to my websites, pushing the domain authority up. And I built a big wholesaling company in Dallas back in 2014, 2015-ish. Went on transition primarily into fix and flip acquisitions, started buying houses, flipping houses. And then the whole goal originally was to create residual income. So I transitioned those into, I would take the money I make from house flips, making money in business and putting it into assets, started buying rental properties, realized it was cash flow, it was residual, but it wasn't passive like I'd always wanted. And then I started transitioning those into notes. I started selling my rentals on owner finance notes, carrying back the paperwork, started creating notes on partial notes, started buying mobile homes. And along the way, I built my YouTube channel. People are called Investor Army, which social media changed my business, changed my career for sure. And it's now, I think, we're a top 15 real estate investing YouTube channel in North America. And because of that, a lot of people started reaching out to me. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and you guys have probably heard of EXP. I'm sure you guys have heard from both sides of the spectrum, too good to be true, too horribly true. There's a middle ground. It's a huge opportunity, absolutely change our business forever. And so I finally slowed down after blowing it off for a year and a half, just telling 20 plus people I'm not interested. I was speaking at a big event in Jackson, Mississippi, and the number one guy in the company was speaking at the same event. We stayed 3 days together on Airbnb. I was completely blown away. Came back, moved my license into EXP. Since then, become a top 100 influencer in the company out of about 30,000 agents. I built an organization spanning 29 states and multiple countries, allowed me to build a 6-figure residual income alongside my other businesses with no debt, no risk, no liability, no overhead, as you would think in compared to rental portfolio properties. And I saw the model as an entrepreneurial, investor-minded brokerage model, meaning we do what wealth creators do. We work for multiple streams of income, equity, cash flow, residual income, which gives us time, money, freedom, and the duplication component to it. So I said, this is going to be something I cannot not do. I don't even know if that made sense. I may have messed that part up, but and then, so I joined the company. It's been a awesome ride since then. And then along the way, I met
what year did you?
Yeah. So I joined the EXP.
What year did you join the company?
So I came in right at the end of 2017. So it's been a little, coming up on 2.5 years. And I wish I knew it was going to grow this fast. I didn't realize we were going to become the single most popular company ever in real estate, based by the growth rate being the fastest growing company ever. And we went from like 6,000 agents to 30,000 in just over 2 years. And then I was speaking at an IRA event, and I met Brant Phillips. Some of you guys know Brant Phillips, private money lender playbook. One of the biggest names in Texas real estate, just a huge asset to the company, and one of my good friends now. Showed him the EXP model, completely blown away. He moved his license in. Now he's one of the faster growing teams in the company. And then he met Max Keller because of me, and Max and I go way back. So Max, when he started in the industry, I kind of worked a little bit with him to help him get up and going. We did a few things together. I helped him do his first deal. And then Max and you met because y'all both do a great strategy, which is your books, which I'm actually going to be doing some stuff with them with books as well. Nice. And that's kind of 7 years down into 7 minutes, hopefully. And that's kind of how we got here.
Dude, I love it. So every single one of those is either new to me or even more impressive than what I thought before. So definitely impressed. I didn't realize you came from poker in the first place. So that's wild. And it's definitely one of those things where we see opportunities just wipe out, right? Airbnb right now is one of those where it's like, boom, exciting, amazing, and then absolutely terrifying to be in that market.
Yep.
And poker was the same thing. There's been so many fantasy football, right? That was another one that was huge and now has shifted in so many different ways and divided up so much. So a lot of different opportunities to make a lot of different money, and you found so many. And that's what's interesting about you, Connor. And that's one of the pieces that when Max Keller offered the opportunity to introduce me to you, I was not interested in EXP, not even close. So I've been interviewed by a dozen different people in EXP, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And a lot of my friends were in EXP. But when Max Keller said, hey, I can introduce you to Connor Steinbrook, I was like, come again? Yeah, I'll take this EXP meeting. Let me jump on this call.
I appreciate that.
And being able to hang out with both of you, massive influences in your market. And then finding out that Brant was also in this downline, who I'm going to be interviewing next week, later on in the week. It's just one of those things where it's like, man, like this is an opportunity, not just for a greater stream of income, the revenue share that EXP provides, but this influencer network of investors, right? Your agents only in licensing, your agents in recruiting and in licensing, which is what we've been doing. And you guys understand it 100% because you're investors first. You're investors and you're building this massive army. So tell me a little bit more about Investor Army. And do you still buy rental property? Do you still buy rental property? Do you still do seller financing?
Yeah. So I do, and I will be more going forward. We kind of shut the nozzle off right here a little bit, and I'll kind of give it my take on that. But yeah, so Investor Army first is, I created that as original funnel for attention. I mean, think about what you're doing with your books. What is the reason for your book in the first place?
Right.
It's for credibility, attention to the marketplace. So when Galter goes buy 23 condos like you just did, yeah, and then say John Smith in the market goes to talk to that same owner, and you pull out your books and say, I've written a book on the subject.
Yeah.
Who do you think they're going to go with? So I look at my YouTube channel as a virtual video book in a way. I mean, think about what a book is. It's a summation of thoughts and ideas created over your lifetime, put into one condensed resource, but in text form. Same
Right.
thing with YouTube as a video form. But that's kind of how I think about it. And so I did it in the original purposes for a number of reasons to build credibility in my marketplace, to have the up and coming agents and investors send me deals, to raise money, to it's what's marketing? It's attracting attention. And
Yeah.
so it also gives me the ability to distinguish myself in the marketplace. I mean, it gives us a lot of benefits when I go out to or talk to a homeowner and they go on the internet and they find me all over the place. And then the other person's like, well, here's my business card,
Here's
right?
my business card. Yeah.
I'm the CEO. I'm the CEO of the business card.
Yeah.
There is a lot of value, and then along the way, we've created little training programs, membership sites, consulting sites. I run a social strategy mastermind. Just shameless plug here, social strategy mastermind, and it's a digital training agents on how to build and investors how to build businesses with social media. So
And
Investor
how
Army
does somebody find out about that if they want to jump into that mastermind?
Yeah, they just go to socialstrategymastermind.com. And what we do is it's a weekly live Zoom call. And we get on there and we talk about IG, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, podcasting, paid organic reach, or algorithms, strategies, because social, this because you're doing this right now. And I do this, but I think a lot of people see the perceived difficulty of doing this as a reason to not do it, but it's much easier than they think. They just have to believe they can do it. But social media, podcasting, internet marketing is going to solve all the problems in your business. It solves the problem most people have is lead generation. They can't generate leads. Well, it's going to help you generate leads. The second thing is people generate leads, but they spend too much, where they may do $1 million in revenue, but they had $1 million in direct mail. The third
Right.
thing is they're doing something like door knocking or cold calling. It's just very difficult to scale for a lot of them. So social media solves all problems in the business: lead generation, affordable lead generation, scalable lead generation. And it's and as well as the repetitious marketing that we know creates business, which is drip marketing, touching people over and over, as compared to a direct mail campaign where you hit them once, cost to hit them again is the same cost. When you hit somebody with internet marketing with paid ad, you can retarget them, which drops the retargeting cost much lower than a typical follow-up campaign. And you're not getting in their hand right before they toss your car in the trash. You're getting
Right.
in their room on their laptop right before they go to sleep. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't do direct mail, but I'm saying if you do direct mail, funnel them to your channels, funnel them to your websites, get them in a funnel, get them into a drip email with video email. And there's, yeah, so, but yeah, so Investor Army, and
Powerful.
now we have like 10 income streams off of it. And it's been great. And I'm glad I did it in the beginning when people were bashing me and like telling me, what are you doing? You're an investor. Why are you filming videos? I was like, I have some vision that I think is going to work. And thankfully it did. But yeah, that's kind of how
Yeah,
that
and
happened.
it's entertaining and it's educational, and that's and it's empowering, right? So you're hitting the 3 E's of digital marketing: entertain, empower, and educate. And you're doing it in such a fun way that people are just attracted to it, right? They're like, oh man, and Investor Army, what a great name, right? Because it implies what all of us are. Me and Ron always say we're building an army of alchemists, and you've got Investor Army, which is just the idea of education and training, and we can be better than we are. So I love it. So
Yeah.
what else is in store for Connor Steinbrook and Investor Army? Where are you going with all this?
Well, I'll just continue on doing what I'm doing. And so people ask how I created that name. So like, like I could have done, I mean, it's not that it's the wrong thing to just do Connor Steinbrook as my YouTube channel, but I wanted to create, like a feeling of unity. I wanted to create something that wasn't so central on me. Not saying that sometime in the future I may not create a personal branded channel. I just wanted people to feel like it was something. And really how I created the channel, guys, if you're trying to do what I did, all I did was say, okay, I've been kicked in the face so many times in my business, and I figured out how to not get kicked in the face. And so whenever I solved a problem, I figured other people would be feeling the same stress and headache that I was. And if I can help people avoid that stress and headache in their business, people will follow my channel. So I just basically said, I have a problem in my business, figured out how to solve it. I'm going to film a video showing people what I did. And that's pretty much how I built the channel. I just started creating videos, and that's what happened. And yeah, so going forward, so right now what I've done, I've kind of cashed out of some properties over the past year or two, uh, certain properties that were having long-term maintenance issues, older properties, framing duplexes, like little, I'm kind of dejunking my portfolio, I guess you could say. So the properties I'm looking
Trimming the
for,
fat.
yeah, yeah, which is, that's what you're going to do. You're going to swell up a portfolio, say 30, 40, 50 houses, and you're going to trim it down a little bit, and then you're going to take cash when you trim it down and buy back better properties, because sometimes you just have a property that you just don't like for emotional reasons and you want to get rid of it. It doesn't perform well.
Yeah.
Just like anything, you may just want to get rid of it, or you're at the top of the market. People think sometimes, some people, I'm hearing all sorts of different opinions, but just whatever it is, you may want to pull cash out. And so the properties I'm looking for right now are just, 1980 newer properties, 4-2 brick ranch houses that are in funnel zones right outside hospitals or colleges, or commercial strips where there's like chain restaurants, things that, like, no matter if the world falls off tomorrow and we see something COVID times a billion, that people can't live in a bush or tree. They're always going to live in a quality property.
Right.
So also, I'm purposely hoarding cash right now. So I've kind of shut the funnel down on acquisitions. And the reason why is because most of my focus is long-term holds now. And if I have a finite amount of money that I can leave in long-term, I want to put it in, and I'm going to be a little bit patient. So I think that we're going to see a flush through the stimulus money. I think that once the backstop starts and all the forbearances go to the wayside, and a lot of these commercial small businesses go under, and all the bankruptcies start kicking in, that the inventory at these local banks and credit unions and community banks is going to get overwhelmed. And in fact, I filmed a video on this today that's coming out on Investor Army. I think the small banks are going to get overwhelmed with taking properties back, and I'm in the process of building relationships with them, divorce attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, and saying, hey, look, this is going to happen. I'm a solution for your headache, a quick solution, and you don't need to worry. Just tell me, call me, and I'll take this off. And if you want me to take 5 or 6 junky properties, I'll deal with those headaches. If you let me choose 1 or 2 over here, like a nice commercial multi-unit property or something like that. So I think the best properties coming forward are going to be from a phone call, not from marketing. And so that's kind of where we're going. I'd like to hopefully by, whenever we see the correction, which who knows when it's going to happen, but sometime in the coming few years, a lot of people think I'd like to buy some nice, like, multi-unit properties this time, because I've owned a lot of single family, and I know you do 1031 exchanges. So those are just some of the thoughts coming forward in my mind.
Yeah, Connor, I love that. It's 100% in line with what we're seeing. And as you're talking about it, one strategy that comes to mind is, and you just said it in that sentence, is because if we're looking for the larger multifamilies, you're on LoopNet and you're looking for the realtors. You're not necessarily looking at LoopNet. You're actually looking at the realtors who have listings, calling them and finding out what they got going on. But then it's looking at the guys who own the commercial real estate. I've never considered it this way. Look at the guys with the commercial real estate and then see what else they own. Because the commercial real estate is what's beating them up. The only thing that's going to save their butt is selling the multifamily in order to actually have something. And so they may end up selling those multifamilies dirt cheap because they're getting beat up on a commercial property. So that's a great strategy. And I just saw a guy in New Bedford, one of my good friends, Okino, and he said, what are you looking for? And I was like, dude, like, honestly, you see those mixed use properties over there? That's what I want right now. I used to always go for multi. Everybody's going after it. I want the stuff nobody knows how to handle.
Yeah.
And I'm going to convert those bottom floors into residential anyway. So it's really powerful strategy. Where are you putting your cash as you hold it? Because I agree. I think we're in a strong deflation market right now, where the value of cash is actually becoming less and less for the moment, just for a little bit longer. But 18 months from now, 12 months from now, we're going to see inflation kick right back in at a speed we've never seen. And so what are you doing with the cash in these next 12 months?
Well, probably not what you want to hear. I'm probably just sitting on it because, like, I don't want to put it into something that's not real liquid. I put probably more than I should have in the stock market.
Me too.
Doing well with some of it. Not doing so. Okay, well, let me step back. When I say I'm not doing so well, I pulled some out. I thought we were going to see a double dip. That was my opinion, and I got in at the very bottom a lot, and I made some money on it. But if I had held to now, I mean, who would have thought that what we're seeing right now, which was a possibility, but I just thought that we were going to see. So I thought when we saw the first set of financial reports coming out, my opinion was we were going to see another drop. So I pulled some off the table, and I was going to hopefully buy another dip, and it didn't really do that. So that's kind of where I've got money. And then just putting in, spending money on my businesses and things like that, investing. And so,
Right.
scaling other businesses, running ads on things, but a lot of it is not what you want to think. I may do some hard money loans or something like that for people on safe deals, like quick cosmetic properties, things like that. But really, I'm trying to hoard it. I'm not really doing anything special with it
Yeah.
that you would think I would be.
Yeah, no, you're 100% doing what we're doing. So I love that you said that. And here's one, like, only bragging right out of the stock market right now is I did the same exact thing as you, except I left 2/3. So I don't play the stock market, didn't do a lot. And then I went and I took about 70,000. I just dropped it in. I said, hey, you know what? This is, a small percentage of my portfolio. I'm just going to put a little bit of this in. And I put in 50,000 in one account, 20,000 in another account. The 20,000 was the one that I ran all my theory on, right? Where I was like, oh, I'm going to day trade. We must be at the top, but another dip's coming. And then the other one was, I'm buying all of this, all these real estate investment trusts, dirt cheap, the companies I admire, look up to. And you know what? At the end of the day, one day people are going to look back and be like, man, he was a smart guy. And that account actually has turned out to be very, very lucrative.
I
And
know.
the other one, although it did make money, like you said, I didn't make anywhere near what the other account did. And so it's like, it's embarrassing, but at the same time, I played both sides and I feel good about it. But
It's easy to look back in hindsight and see what we should have done, but in the moment, you're operating off of deductive reasoning from information that you have at the time.
yeah,
And just like, I mean, look at, like, you had Carl Icahn, you had Ray Dalio, you had Buffett, you had all these big long-term investors that are not swing traders traditionally, as you would think, sitting on billions and billions and
yeah,
billions. And my mentality was like, if these guys who know way more than me haven't dumped in to ride
yeah,
up, they must think. And so that was a validation of my thoughts. And I think even a lot of people are shocked. I think people are
yeah.
just, so who knows? I think in a year from now, we're going to look back and see like what just happened, because there may be, who knows what's going to happen. To be honest, nothing would surprise me right now. It got to the end where I was like, whatever I decide to do, let me do the opposite going forward. I'm going to make a lot of money.
That was the strategy behind the two accounts, right? Like, it's just like, you know what, like, you have your emotional side, play with that on a smaller scale, and then stick to your fundamentals. Like, just stick to the fundamentals. They're boring. It's like, whatever. And this time around, I can actually say, like, I feel good about both, right? Like, okay, yeah, the fundamentals definitely kicked my ass. Like, they did great this time. And then on the other side, like, the play account definitely didn't win, but it was fun. I still had a blast. So we know, I'm 100% in agreement with you, Connor. You've been in so many different industries and you're really scaling in an intelligent way. And the advice that you're giving right now is invest in your business. If I'm hearing this correctly, it's invest in your business and invest in cash. Cash is a great position to be holding, at least for the next 12 months. It's, even though it is down in value now, you're going to see cash suddenly be like splitting in value and getting less and less and less valuable to you. So it's, even though it's easy to get right now, in the future, I don't think it's going to be as easy to get. The financing will be a little tighter. Zero
That's for
interest
sure.
rates are super low. Inflation's got to kick everybody's ass. Houses that are worth $500,000 will be worth $1 million. Houses that are $250,000 will be worth $500,000. 4 or 5 years from now, because the market's just shifted. No, but we are going to see opportunity, like you said, on the commercial side. And so, what business? And I know personally, me, I'm doubling down on agency right now because I see a lot of transactions coming in the future, but they may not always be the best thing for us to buy. Although we are looking to pick up a lot of multifamily, and in like a crazy way, we're looking at the multifamilies. So what are you, business wise, specifically putting into marketing? What businesses are you really focused on? I know you're pretty aggressive on the agency right now, because I think you see what we see as a huge opportunity. What would you say is your number one focus right now?
Yeah. So when I make business decisions, I look at things on three different playing fields. And so I think most people in business look at things as far as one, income opportunity, how much money can I make? But I'm looking at in relationship to income opportunities, not just how much money I can make, but how I make the money. Is it passive or is it active? And then the time it takes to create that money, and then the risk, and then also the stress and emotion. So for example, let's say we both flip a house and make 40 grand a piece. One of us made more money than the other one because of the time it took to do it. Now, let's say we both spent the exact same second amount of time and the same profit. One of us still had a better deal because one of us was more stressed than the other one. So these are how I look at decisions. And when I look at things as far as scaling, rentals, notes, other businesses, the EXP revenue share model, I think, is misunderstood or
Oh yeah.
underlooked.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, there's just a lot of miscommunication out there. And I think it's the most scalable with the least risk. And at the current moment, also not just looking at time and emotion and income opportunities, but the timing of what's happening is we're in an international race for market share. Most people don't understand that because our business model allows us to build outside of a local geographical restricted type of business model, which a brokerage usually is, we're growing. You can build your organization across all 50 states, 7 Canadian provinces, and now we're expanding all around the world into United Kingdom, Australia, other countries are coming. I think you're going to see this massive explosion over the next 3, 5, 7 years. And once the music stops playing, you guys are probably familiar with like the industry growth curve. When companies start out, they grow slow and linear, then they go viral, exponential, shoot up, and then market share gets captured and it gets too difficult to grow. And then you see a flattening of the growth rate at the top. And so while it's going exponential and viral, I just think it's a great use of my time. So my goal is to take this into our organization, all 50 states, pretty much everywhere we go, and do this aggressively. And look for great partners all across the country, like you guys.
And we're honored to be a part of it. We see the same thing. We see we've looked at all the different brokerages. In fact, I'm a real estate agent trainer, right? I've been training agents for the last 3 years with Agent Alchemist behind me here, and that program we've taken Keller Williams, Remax, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, you name the brokerage, we've been in them unless they're a small boutique brokerage, and we've done the small boutiques here in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And the one thing that is consistent is we're training all over the place, right? We have a massive reach, and we're expanding our reach with the book and with our podcast. And we can't make money off of agents in Texas. That's not fair, right? Like it's like, oh, what a limitation that is. Whereas with EXP, I can build a team in every single state all across the country, and all my investors that are in, like investor army, right? Think about that.
Right.
You have all of your investors, they're coming to you for advice, they're asking you, and then they ask, hey, do you know an agent in my area? And in the past, you'd have to say, well, check on MLS, like try to find somebody, Google it. Now it's like, hey, you know what? Let me call one of my students, somebody who's actually been through my program, and I'll tell you, like, connect with them because they understand investing. They're investing themselves, and they're an agent in the XP working with me. And so I'm also going to get a commission. Is that okay if I get paid a commission for hooking you up? And obviously, every single one of our investors is like, that's why I called you first. I want you to get paid for hooking me up.
Right. And it's not just that, it's that it's a very scalable model because our
Yeah.
duplicatable system, we have a 7-tier revenue share model, similar to how Keller Williams grew with their 7-tier profit sharing system. But as you build your, investor army, let's think of it like an agent army. You have all sorts of partners with you all across the country in different markets. So you get a really good pulse on data coming from different areas of the country. Also, their eyes on the ground, boots on the ground. And not all agents want to be investors, just like not all investors want to be agents, but a lot of them want to do both. And so you guys are gonna have the opportunity, and those of them that partner with you with what you guys are doing, to buy houses from agents that you work with, because they're out there running the streets. And what do the agents do? They're in front of homeowners all the time, and not all the time is a house bank financeable. And a lot of times an agent passes over, let's say, a $50,000 junky house because they either don't want their name attached to it,
Right.
because it's the time they know that's going to take to do that deal. The commission is not worth their time as far as an opportunity cost. In their mind, they're losing money, but that could be a deal that could take 30 grand in repairs that you could pull cash out on a refinance, and cash flow strong. So it's more of an entrepreneurial business model because of the scalability of it. And it's going to overlap your business that you're doing already now with buying houses.
Yeah, it's like the perfect model, and it's a company that I ignored. I really did, Connor. Like every time, because they also have a high recruiting faction, right? There's a faction out there who they're like us. They're like, hey, come on in, work with us. Except they have the same mindset of us. They've looked at the numbers, but then there's the other side where they're almost like, and I love all religions, but let me say Jehovah's Witnesses show up a little more often at my door than everybody else, and so there's this, hey, come on, you got to work with us mentality. And that side of the business turned me off. But when you communicate with me, it was like, hey, look, if you want to come over and help a lot of people, like, this is cool, right? Like, this is how we do it. And here's the numbers. The other side to it, and talking about stocks, you jumped into it. I bought EXP when EXP was $8 because I thought it was a great company. I bought Realogy, I bought EXP, Remax, I bought all of them. And I was looking at all of them, and I was studying the real estate agency companies, the brokerages. And I love REITs, real estate investment trusts, but then Agency was just kind of in there because I'm an agent, right? So I carry my license. I know a thing or two because I'm a coach and a trainer. And EXP, when I really dove into the company, they had something nobody else had. They had technology that they were selling, right? Whereas Keller Williams keeps it in-house. Remax barely has it. Like the other company, Realogy is not, that's not their area. They're not growing in anything but if they get more agents. And it was the fact that EXP had so many other forms of streams of income on the books that really brought me to it. And then if you look at the stock market today, they've gone up over the S&P. They're winning the entire time that there's been a downside. They've been going up and excelling. So I'm not saying go buy EXP stock, but you would help my shares if you did. The other
Yeah, I
side of
mean,
the company gives a stock, don't they?
yeah, so we have equity awards when you for different ones. We have a very powerful one which is called an icon program, which is it's closely related to what I would consider like you've heard the term a loss leader, which is a product or service a company offers to attract business around it, where they may break even on the product or service or even lose money. Let's say that we had like a flat screen on Black Friday, as the example I give, for $200 that the company paid $200 for, gets you in the store because you want that cheap flat screen, but then you go buy everything else because you thought you got a deal on it. So we have a very powerful program called an icon program that allows you to earn the cap that you pay into the company back in company stock just by doing what you're already doing, selling a large volume of houses. So if you guys are doing 25 plus houses a year, you definitely need to sit down with Walter and Ron and I and Max and see what this can do for you, because I think the math would shock you. It's built to attract elite talent, in my opinion, from flat fee shops or 100% shops or independent brokers that hold their license, not so much to build a team, but to keep the majority of their commission. So there's some, and then we have, stock award given on your first transaction when you cap. If you sponsor an agent, that agent sells their first house. So there's the equity component. So if you look at like the wealth quadrant, multiple streams of income, equity, residual income, passive income, and then duplication, we really have all the components that you see people that create wealth do. And our stock awards is an equity component that allows agents to see this kind of like, they tell me it's like a little 401k or retirement plan that they see as they can do what they're already doing, selling houses, building teams, real estate 101, but accrue up thousands of dollars a year in equity in the company. So in the future, when they want to step away, they have something waiting for them. Now, the broker owners and team leaders coming over here see it as a massive attraction tool, as a leverage to attract agents to the company that other companies can't offer because they don't have this part of their business plan. And then they see it as a massive retention tool, meaning it retains talent, which is why corporations create equity programs in the first place, the golden handcuffs. We're going to give you gold, ownership in the company, stock in the company, but we're going to retain you to the company for 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years, however long the vesting period is. But we do have a very short vesting period here. So it's a combination of the growth, why we're growing faster than any company ever in North America as far as brokerages, massive compensation on the front side, strong retention tools on the back end, health insurance options now, stock awards, revenue sharing, things that traditionally brokerages don't give the opportunity to their agents in the company that we are giving now.
I love it. And so you answered in, in that long sentence all of the little points as far as like what you're doing with your time and why it makes sense to have your real estate license as an investor, right? That's something that I'm always pounding into wholesalers, especially wholesalers' heads, especially now. Wholesale deals are harder to come by, but agents are living the life. Like they're making so much money. And then if you're going to be an agent, you want to be in a brokerage that gives you more options and gives you more retention. And I think that what you found in EXP is fascinating. It's absolutely amazing. And it's a strong company. It's a strong brand. It's got me and Ron thinking completely different about the business in general. And then you're talking about you're buying more property and you're focusing more on the multifamilies. You're focusing on building relationships that won't be capitalized on for a year or two, right? You're talking about having these relationships with attorneys, having these relationships with brokers, having these relationships with investors who own these big properties that they're probably fine now, but in the year or two, they're not going to be. You're thinking so far into the future with your business, and you're also educating so many people to do the same so that people can change their life situation by doing what's the Connor Steinbrook method, right? Or that'll be the name of the next book, the Connor Steinbrook method. But
y'all get me on the book hook. I'm gonna have to write a book now.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming because it would be value add to the community, a community that you care about and you're doing really well building the investor army. And so agents on the other side of it, agents should be investing, right? You're a licensed agent and you are genuinely in the belief of, yes, recruit, build this team. Yes, do more deals. That's where the cash flow is right now, stack cash. And what you're doing with that cash is buying multifamily property, or you're still carrying notes on assets.
Yeah.
What is
So
the reason for going after the multifamilies as opposed to the singles? Because you've done both, and it seems like you're moving to the other one.
yeah, I mean, so just the scalability factor. When I got into the business, like when I wasn't bank financeable, so I made good money in the poker world. When that disappeared, I kind of wallowed around in my pity party and world. Everything's cursed. The world sucks. I hate everything. Like I blamed everything until I started realizing I should have been blaming myself, because if I had taken the money I made and invested into real estate, I would never had to work again at 25. So I was the blame. And sometimes a lot of you guys right now, and this is a good lesson, some of you guys are blaming everything around you. You're blaming the government, you're blaming the local party, you're blaming God, you're blaming your mom, you're blaming the cat walked by because it's orange and it's not brown. Whatever it is, if you're blaming something, you're taking away the control of your own life. So when you give control to external forces, you're saying that they have to change for your life to change, and that's a very defeating position to be in. And the only way things are going to change around you is if you change who you are. And so you have to go down a different path of shifting your mindset. And people hear this and it sounds cliche, but well, if you're hearing it over and over, why not actually finally act on it? So I think, in hindsight, the biggest curse at the time when I was living through it was horrible. It was like being in a tsunami was the biggest blessing, because it led me into a different path in life. So some of you guys right now are facing a horrible situation, and you may not see the backside, and you may think it's not even worth going any further. But I promise you, no storm lasts forever. So you push through, but you're not going to be able to come out the backside unless you put your own side on, or your own effort into doing so. But
Yeah.
I was able to build that portfolio up because I had to start with single family. I wasn't financeable. I had to do things buying direct to the seller with owner financing. I literally was buying houses, sometimes 0% interest, no down payment. And so I had to figure out creative ways, because I was not where I should have been. And now I'm in a little bit better position to go for bigger properties. Plus I'm a little bit, I'm more open to taking a risk right now than I would have been before when I was coming up, because just kind of like when you play poker, like as you get a better bankroll, you can take bigger risks. Same thing with the stock market. If you have 100 grand, you may not put 100 grand in, but if you have a million, you may put 100 grand in, right? So it's
Right.
a little bit different in the risk averse nature. Plus, I just know that the most successful entrepreneurs in the real estate space above me bought commercial giant properties at the bottom of the dip, and that's how they really got wealthy, where they had $2 million property turned to $5 million property over a few year time period. But
Yeah.
that's kind of why I'm focusing going to the bigger properties going forward.
I love that. And you, like you said, you had mentors, you had people in the poker arena who you were asking them how they got to where they are. And they said real estate, and this is how I did it specifically. You were smart enough to reach out to mentors and say, you know what, whatever, I want to learn from you. Connor, this has been a phenomenal interview. It's been a little longer than we normally go, but you've given so much content, so much value. I got to ask for three more. What are the three pieces of advice you'd give to yourself if you go back to 20-year-old Connor and just say, hey, look, this is how the world is. Here's the three pieces of advice you need to be more successful, so that people listening to this who are in their 20s or their 30s or 40s or 50s and haven't had the experience you've had, what could you give them? Three pieces.
Yeah, so don't get mad at me, guys, if you have kids, but I would have definitely not gone through college. I would have stepped out, and I'm not saying education is not important. I'm saying you need the right education. And I think college has become, not just because expensive it is to get a college degree, the college degree is almost worthless anymore. Now, if you think about before government loans and think about how you used to have to pay for your own education, now anybody can get one. And so when more people have one, it's like almost like a college education is like a high school degree now, and getting like an elite, like a master's or whatever, like something on top, like an attorney, if you're a doctor or a dentist or an attorney, that's like a normal college degree right now. And right now there's like 4 times as many attorneys than there is positions for we need attorneys. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get educated. I'm saying get educated on the right things and don't put yourself into debt, because the average person coming out, getting a job, coming out of college to work for someone else, plus you're just conditioning yourself to work for someone else and not run a business. And if you look at the normal salary or income for someone working a corporate job right now, it's almost impossible for you guys to get ahead. So you have to build businesses. Like, you don't have a choice. You have to build a business. So right now, get up and go to your 9 to 5, come home, eat dinner, and go to your 6 to 12 and do that as long as it takes to get off, because you're never going to be able to jump off the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And so I would have jumped out. I probably would have joined a network marketing company. I should have got my real estate license earlier. I think interning, don't being so egotistical and go work for someone for free to get skill sets and to build, to get an education. And so don't just think that, like somehow like this younger generation thinks if they work for free, somehow it's beneath them. But what if you work for free for 2 years and never work for anybody else because of it? So I would have gone a different path down there. I would have read more books faster. I would have gone down the path of self-development faster. I would have failed faster. I would have done everything faster. So even though I've worked incredibly hard, like harder than what most people I think even would think I do, because a lot of people see I'm like a fake YouTuber, right? But I earned the bags under my eyes. I've worked incredibly hard, and still I look back and regret that I should have worked harder, and that I should have taken more risks, and that I shouldn't have operated out of fear so much, and that I should have just swung harder. I think I would have gotten to where I got to faster. What else would I have done different? I would have gone to more networking events and more built relationships faster. I would have gone to the head of the snake, I guess you could say, go find the most successful people in my market and go say, how can I get close to these people? And I would have gone to travel to more events. I would have traveled to a wider range of events, not just real estate, business networking events, people that are outside of real estate, because those are who has your money. You guys are going to have a difficult time raising money, good money inside of real estate. Like, you're never going to raise money from me. Why would I give you my money? I can invest my own money into my own deals. Now, John that runs 12 workout gyms, he has too much money, but he has no time. Sally that runs 12 beauty salons, she has a lot of money, but no time, and they need you. So I would have started going into, going to like country clubs and golf places where like people have money, and getting close to these people, even if I had to spend money to go do it. So these are some of the things I think would have accelerated my path sooner. And then the other thing was just not beating myself up so much on mistakes that I made, and bouncing back quicker. So everybody makes mistakes, but the people who get to where they go too faster bounce back up off the ground quicker. So let's say you guys have an HVAC go out. I see people getting depressed for weeks. Whereas if you just say, okay, this is what it is, I'm getting back up tomorrow, you don't waste all that time, and time is the only thing we don't get back. So I would just go faster. These are some of the things that sometimes I think about.
Yeah, Connor, I think we got the name of the book, or at least the concept of the book is go faster, right? Something in there. That's your method. That's been what's made you successful. I love those 3 pieces of advice, and I love the detail and story you put around them. That means it's very, very retainable for people. You had an amazing story, Connor. You're still writing it, and this is just the beginning. I can tell you've got so much left inside of you, and it's such an honor to be on the same journey with you. Thank you so much for jumping on this. What is the easiest way if somebody wanted to reach out to you right now and either lend, jump in a deal, educate, learn more about you? What's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you, Connor?
Yeah. And I'll say one more thing before we end on going fast. So, you're in the coaching business, and you see all the time people are fixated on what to do instead of how to do it sometimes. Just like how much money they make instead of how they make the money. Right. 2 different people both make $100,000 a year. One does it through active income. One does it through residual income. 2 different lifestyles. One's working all day, every day. One's sitting on the beach or coaching a kid's soccer team. But it's also, kind of about how you do something. So think about what you're doing right now, guys, and how you're doing it. So if you're making money flipping houses, you're generating leads, you're running cold calling centers, whatever you're doing, think about how you can do it faster. Because if you can take an hour-long task and do it quicker and shut it down to 30 minutes and put that time savings back into the same income producing activity back into an hour, you just doubled your income for that hour. So I would highly recommend that you guys take speed reading courses, speed writing courses, speed typing courses. People wonder why I talk so fast. I mean, I walk fast, I talk fast, I write fast, I text fast, I do everything fast. I shop fast, so don't get in my aisle. I'll run you over at Walmart because I have goals and I want to hit them fast. And so if you do things faster, and if you do things fast, you will make more mistakes. But if you're going fast enough, it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, because the biggest mistake you can make is to procrastinate and never go out and do anything, and which is what keeps people, what's that saying they all say in our industry?
Procrastination. No, it's analysis paralysis.
Yeah, analysis paralysis.
Deadly.
It's like when my coffee cup is over here and not over here, and when I get everything perfect. So my YouTube videos, guys, have misspelled words in them. I say things incorrectly all the time, but I'm putting out a ton of content, so it doesn't matter. So the best way to reach out to me, guys, I'd be grateful. Go check out Investor Army, subscribe to the channel, like it, down like it, do whatever you want, just do something on it. If you guys are interested in learning a business on how I did that, I do run a social strategy mastermind. It's a little monthly membership site. I have like a YouTube course and some other things, but everything I do is relatively low price points. If you guys just want to reach out to me, you can find me on Facebook or on just email me at info.investorarmy@gmail.com. But you can just find my information on the internet or on my YouTube channel.
I love it, Connor. That's powerful. What you said about speed is so strong. I say it in all my trainings that, look, making $1 million only counts if you do it in a year, right? It doesn't count if it takes you 40 years, because everybody's going to hit $1 million in 40 years. The faster you do it is what people remember. The faster you do it is what's going to change your life. So speed is part of the equation. So the doctor of speed, Connor Steinbrook, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you so much for all the value you deliver. I'm going to go back and rewatch this because you just delivered so much so quickly. I think I got more in this 30, 40 minutes than I've gotten in 2-3 hour interviews. So thank you so much, brother. Cheers to your success. And I will see you on the next one. And you can check out our podcast we did together on Investor Army at YouTube. And I believe you have investorarmy.com as well.
Yeah. So we're going to be redoing that quite a bit. That website's actually gone a little stale. We haven't really done much with it. I was doing a lot of different things and we kind of changed what we're doing with it. But yeah, so guys, if you want to reach out and you want to work with Walter, Ron, myself, Max, Brant, you want to associate, I just named 5 people. Isn't that the saying? If you get close to 5 people around you, they're going to bring your temperature up to him or to their level. Guys, if you want to reach out to us and you're an agent or an investor and you want to work with us, just reach out to them. You guys know how to find Walter and Ron, and we'll sit down, show you what we're doing, show you the system we built behind the scenes for training with social media, with team building, masterminds, all the cool stuff that we have. And you can do this all across the country now. You have the ability to partner with us. And so if you watch this and you're feeling like you haven't hit your goals fast enough, just reach out and see what we're doing. It may be of interest to you.
I love that. You can join us on gualtermorello.com/live for our free Saturday training every Saturday, the 52 Weeks to Wealth, and ask about what we're doing. Ask about what the partnership we have with Connor Steinbrook, with Max Keller, and with Brant. What's Brant's last name? He's a champion.
Yeah,
Brant Phillips. I just got his book, actually. It's in. So ask about what we're doing every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, gualtermorello.com/live. Cheers to your success, my friends. Thank you, Connor. I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.